everybody. Once again, I'm Liam Crafton Jr., aka Zorval Chan. We have Mars Video Cat here for Torg Tuesday. This is something that I still haven't figured out the cracking noise. So while I'm going through that, I want to get a Torg Tuesday video out. So I'm going to try to, hopefully I'll be able to compress this and make it a shorter video, not ramble. I'll try to focus. So basically, a few days ago, I'm pretty sure within the last week on the Discord, Ulysses Spiele has a Torg channel, and they came out with a new channel that is for questions to ask. And Deanna Gilbert, she is one of the main developers of Torg Eternity, and she sometimes will come on and answer questions. And before she started answering questions, she basically wanted to kind of give her process of when she is asked a question and she doesn't immediately know, because sometimes this perk and this spell and this power stacks together in weird ways. How does that happen? How she kind of does hers. So if she is going to say, sometimes she's going to say GM call, because we're a role-playing game. Torg is a role-playing game. Me as a freelance writer, I write it as a role-playing game. I am not a coder. I am not coding an MMO or a, say, single-player fantasy RPG. It's a tabletop RPG, and we have game masters to referee that type of stuff. So it kind of is a game masters. If you're trying to make a ruling, then here are some steps to use. So I just wanted to kind of go down those steps. So even if you ask in Discord, it could be a while before Deanna sees it and replies. So you can't stop a game for that. So if you're in the game and you want an answer and you want to try to get somewhat official, then these are the steps to go through. And again, you can always make your house rules. Just be aware that they might cause ripple effects depending on how drastically they change things. But you're the game master. You can make your house rules. But if you're trying to decide on, I want this rule, I want to keep it as this rule, and I am questioning what this rule is, this will help you. So I have my phone because I have that page up. So basically there is, and I hit the button, and okay, here we go. We have basically 4 rules with a 0 rule. So 0 rule is read the rule carefully and read the rule entirely. Don't just read the first part, think you understand it, and gloss over, your eyes glaze over, and forget the rest. Read the whole rule, read it carefully. A lot of times things can be solved by that. There's also a FAQ. If you just type in on your web browser, Torg Eternity FAQ, it can take you to there, and some rules and clarifications and rule rewrites and stuff are on that FAQ. So please look at that also. So read the rule carefully. And then the first law is apply common sense. And the definition given was somebody said, oh, complete darkness, you're in complete darkness or blind, you have a -6. So can I aim? And use common sense. If somebody's right in front of you and you're swinging the sword, you probably hit them, give them a -6. Same thing if they're right in front of you and you're shooting your pistol, because pistols are allowed to be used in melee. Give them the -6. But if they're off in the distance and you can't see them, no, you can't aim. You can maybe fire and have that -6 to try, but you have nothing to aim at. You're shooting into darkness, and the same applies to cover. If somebody is completely covered, if I'm hiding over here, it's different than am I hiding over here. So if you can't see the person, you can't aim at it. So just use common sense that way. And your common sense might be different than somebody else's common sense. And to use the aim as an example, I think that if I'm aiming at a target, whether it's a bow or a pistol or a rifle or whatever, if I'm aiming, I am aiming at one target, and I'm going to shoot one target. That's to me the concept of aiming. But somebody else said, well, it doesn't say that you can't use it for various persons. So it's like you aim, boom, you aim, boom, you aim, boom. As a game master, you figure out what you want to do. If you want to allow it, allow it. If you don't want to allow it, don't allow it. Now, aim usually takes a full round, and then you shoot the next round. So to me, that is not the bang. bang, bang. That is the lining something up. However, with whatever ranged weapon you have, you spend a round aiming at that. Now, as a kind of workaround, if that thing's taking, I just say you tell me you're aiming, and then you have one target the next round to hit. So if you were shooting at that person there, you were shooting at that person there, and that person is taken out, well, you are a Storm Knight and can manipulate reality a little bit. So no, in this other reality, you're aiming at that person there. So that's what I allow as a game master. One shot, one target. But if that target falls over, first you don't even have to tell me, and it's because of that. If you're aiming at that person goes down, then you go over and aim at it. So game masters, make your rulings, but do make it so try to keep common sense in it. So the second law is as a default, rules are permissive, not restrictive. So rules tell you what you can do and how to do them, not what you cannot do unless it specifies in that rule. So if the rules are saying, or if you're trying to say the rules don't say I can't, you're likely already wrong. So if you're looking at the rules like some games do, that if it doesn't say that you can do it, then it means you can't. It's basically just saying, sometimes it's just one example of something. And if you as a game master want to change that, you can change that. And there are rules like that that I've changed, the second chance card being one of them. But rules are permissive. And to say that what the second chance card does is it says that you can, if you roll and you don't like it, you play the second chance card, you do another roll for a skill total. And it specifies on that you can use it for a mishap. It doesn't say that you can use it for a disconnect. My personal philosophy of the game world, I think disconnect is the ever law of one, putting its foot down, and I don't like things that can willy-nilly change that. There is a certain perk that allows it. I allow that to happen, but I don't allow the second chance card. But the official rule, and the rule that plays out here, is yes, it would work for disconnect. Just because it says it works for mishap and not disconnect doesn't mean it doesn't work for disconnect. So that's how you would do it officially. I understand that. My house rule is one thing. If I play official, I'm expecting it to be the official way. And that reasoning is sound to me. It's just my philosophy of the game, not specifically the rule, but my philosophy of the game. I don't like that concept. So that's why I changed. And there are probably things that you can change because of that also. But as a default, rules are permissive, not restricted. Third is do not do backflips to make rule interpretation, which is use Occam's razors. Don't add language to the rules. Don't take out language. Don't change it to redefine something because you like it. Don't do all these weird mental gymnastics for the rule. If a rule says something applies to an action, it applies to all actions. And if your action is doing something, if any game something you do is an action, standard action, simple action, or free action, and it says something like you sacrifice your action, you're still doing something. It's an action. Don't say action total if the rule doesn't say action total. Don't say action bonus if the rule doesn't say action bonus. If it just says action, it's actions. So that type of thing. Don't add words to it. Don't subtract words. Read the whole words, or read all the words carefully, consistency, and do that. And then the last one is when in doubt, take the weakest interpretation. So if you're reading it and it kind of has a this can be read two ways, choose whatever the weakest is. If later the official ruling comes out that it's the more powerful way, then you can always allow your players to do that more powerful thing and they will like it. If you start off with the more powerful thing and then the official rule comes out, or you think about it and it's already kind of gotten into your game, then you can bring it down. And if you try to bring it down, then the players usually get upset. It's easier to give the players more power. They'll be happy. If you take that away or nerf it, then they're not going to be happy. And quickly, I will give an example. There is a rule about up, and the wording is up means that the first roll you have, you get an automatic die roll again added to it, and but it's not a possibility. It doesn't count as a minimum of a 10. So what that means is if I'm up, I roll my d20 and say I roll a 13, and then I roll it again, and I roll a 1, I have a 14. If I roll a 10, I have a 23, etc. And it says on the first roll. Now me, I took that mean to whatever your first roll entirely means. So if you're disconnected, the first thing that you do is you make a free action to try to reconnect. And then whether you reconnect or not, then you can make another action, or you can do a normal action. Or maybe the villains go first and you get hit and you want to soak. So how I took that first roll to mean was the very first roll. So if I got hit and soaked, my up would apply to that. That's my first roll. It wouldn't apply to anything else. Or if I was disconnected, then that would apply to my first roll. And that's how I ruled it as a game master. Now, later, I found out that officially I was wrong. It applies to the first of every action roll. So if the up is in there and you are hit and you go to soak, you get that up. You just don't get it if you roll a possibility or a drama card or a hero card. You don't get it again for every single time you roll the dice. And that's what the first roll apparently means. So if I get hit and I soak, I do my up there. If I'm disconnected, well, I guess I could be disconnected because, so we'll switch that. Say I'm disconnected, I do my up, and I reconnect. And then do my action, and I do my up. And then the villains go and they shoot me, and I go to soak, I do my action, and that first roll is up. So I actually got kind of 3 ups in that round because I had 3 rolls and the first of every roll. Now think about it. If you gave your players that choice and you realize at some point that was just too powerful of a thing and you tried to take that away from them, that would be nerfing and that would be difficult. But if you started with the sense of that is the first roll, and that means the first roll and no other rolls, and it was on that disconnect, I don't get it for my action, I don't get it for my soak, and then later I decided, hey, it applies to everything in the round. Your players will probably enjoy that. That means that everything that they do is going to get that. If they need that disconnection, they got it. And it's not like, oh, my first roll was a 19. That gave me a big bonus number. I would have reconnected anyway, so that up was worthless. That is going from low to high because it's official. And it's easier to do that than if something official would have brought it back down, is what I'm saying. So take those things. If there's a kind of a vagueness that can give you a low powered or a high power, go with the low power. And then if it's official and if you want to do it official, you can always give the players the higher power. If you do the lower power and the rule official is the higher power, but you think it's going to be imbalancing, then you can keep it the lower power and tell your players, I'm keeping it here. This is the way that we've always done it. And then at any time in the future, you can say, hey, I've thought about this and let's try it. It's a lot easier to do it that way. So I want to go ahead and end this, see if I can get by with 15 minutes. Tomorrow I will be game mastering Blood on the Blasted Lands on Twitch, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Blood on the Blasted Lands, Roll, Hit, Die, Twitch. A few days later, it will be on YouTube. Once again, I'm Lehman Crafton Jr., aka Zorval Chan, Less Than Guru, Torg Tuesday. So until next time, I will catch you later.